All right. Zane tweets, what's going on with Daniel Day-Lewis? I haven't heard or seen anything from him since 2012 in Lincoln.
He doesn't do a lot of movies.
When he does, he comes out firing. That's it. He's not preparing for it.
Yeah, he goes. Where does he? He lives in Europe somewhere.
He cobbles shoes.
Yeah, cobbles shoes.
Does he really? It's amazing.
Yeah, he doesn't. For him to come out to do a movie, it's like once every 4 or 5 years, and he has to really, really believe in it. And he also has to, because he's so method. Like with Abraham Lincoln, he studies it.
Right.
I heard he practiced that voice he did for like a year. You know, he's like practicing. I mean, you're right about his performance. It felt like they took a time machine, went back in time, grabbed Abraham Lincoln, said, "Hey, you're going to act in your own movie." That's how good he was.
It is, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize is that he's actually. You probably have seen him, whether or not he's playing a lamppost or whatever he's playing. He's out there right now doing something.
He's waiting.
there. Yeah, no, he's the best. I mean, when he does come back, it's like you guys say, he's prepping. There's a role that he's out there. He's circling, and he's a chameleon. It's not even that he's necessarily practicing. It's he's becoming whatever it is he's supposed to do. I would put him up there as one of the best of all time, like next to Brando and all these guys. He's like one of the best of all time.
He, you know, you watch him in Last of the Mohicans, then you see him in Gangs of New York, and you see him in Lincoln. You don't even recognize him as those three guys, right? And you gotta imagine that there's people out there that have a script in development. They're like, Daniel Day-Lewis would be perfect for this role, and like you have to go to the jungles of Burma, like Jay Peterman in Seinfeld, to find him, and they find him like assimilating himself in some random tribe that nobody's ever seen before, and he's hunting piranha with a spear that he's made out of shoelaces and wood. You don't know, like this guy is a chameleon.
It's the next
literally.
movie, Shoelaces and Wood.
Shoelaces and Wood. Yeah.
So you got your Seinfeld reference.
Come on,
You're back.
where's Daniel Day-Lewis? Let's figure it out.
All right, what's next?
Jay tweets, when are we getting an Independence Day trailer?
Oh, when is that coming out again?
2016.
Next year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Independence Day, 2016.
Yeah. So
There's a strategy to it, man. Like as far as because this goes back to our conversation with whatever that silly movie is that we were talking about with
Gods
the
and
posters.
Lightning.
It's a matter of you've got to look. We're talking about when the Batman v Superman trailer is going to land. We're talking about when all these X-Men Apocalypse is going to land. It will probably be, I think, a good tease. It comes out in July, right, Sinead?
I'm looking it up right now.
I would assume
June
so.
24th.
June.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
June, July makes sense. So you're
that's my
probably
birthday.
going to get a drop for that movie, I'd say, in January, February.
yeah. And also, you know what?
Super Bowl.
What's the
Independence.
point?
That Super Bowl's a great
What's
call.
the point of putting it out now? You got to get past this Star Wars hump,
Yeah.
That's
right?
right, yeah.
That's all anyone's talking about.
Unless you want to capitalize on Star Wars with putting it in the trailers that we were talking yesterday. I don't think that'll happen. I think you're going to get these other movies like Civil War and Batman
I
v
think
Superman.
those movies, they're different enough where we're not like Independence Day, Star Wars, but it's a science fiction thing.
But that's why you
But it's a
want to
cult
do that,
classic,
though.
too.
But it's going to look so cheap next to Star Wars.
That's a
like,
good
it's
reason.
going to pale in comparison. All right, what's next?
Mr. Mac Cheese tweets, would you watch an Elf 2?
Oh, yeah. I like the first Elf. Jon Favreau directed that. I think that was his maybe second movie he did. He did Made first, and then I think he did Elf. And that kind of catapulted him as a director in terms of getting that Iron Man gig. Yeah, I like that. That was Zooey Deschanel and Will Ferrell.
Yeah. I loved the first Elf.
Yeah.
I'll watch another one, absolutely. Fantastic.
It always makes me nervous, just like I said yesterday too, because like how many comedy sequels can you name that were good? It's really hard to do, and I would hate for the momentum for Favreau to go away right now because he's working on. I want to see him kind of go. Like I said, he's doing Jungle Book, which looks incredible. He's been circling. Rumors are he's circling an anthology movie for Star Wars, which I'd love to see. If he came back to comedy after doing that with Will Ferrell, Will Ferrell's what, push 50, 55? He could do it. There's no doubt about it. But what's the story?
All right, Sinead.
Alexander tweets, with the hilarious failure of Gem and the Holograms, is this only a precursor of things to come for the Power Rangers movie?
I don't know. I mean, I think the Power Rangers. I mean, Gem and the Holograms was, I think, in the 80s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Power Rangers, at least, or more recent, wasn't my generation. Gem and the Holograms is actually when I was growing up. I don't think so, but it may fail for many other different reasons.
Power Rangers has been around forever.
Yeah.
Like my little nephew's 3. He was a Power Ranger for Halloween. So that's still out there. Nobody's really even talked about Gem and the Holograms since 90.
Yeah, but there's a difference here, though, is that if Power Rangers makes the same mistake as Gem and the Holograms, and not making a movie for its for the people who watched it, if they make a completely different movie that someone who's seen the show and is familiar with the show gets excited for the trailer, and you're like, what? That's just a retelling of a Saved by the Bell episode.
Yeah.
Or it's like, what are we doing? I don't want to see that. The core audience, let's try to get some new young girls who have no idea who the hell Jem is. That's why that movie failed. It was horrible. It was written terribly. The director did a horrendous job on it. Now, not saying that Power Rangers won't have that same problem, but they have. It looks like they're going to go more towards the core audience of. You said your cousin, I guess, watched it. So like people who watch this show. As long as they go towards that audience, it should do good.
And also, the younger generation already had their Jem and the Holograms. It was called Hannah and Montana. They just ripped that off and made that.
Yep.
Sinead, are you excited for a Power Rangers movie? Was that part of your growing
Power
up?
Rangers was. I mean, I grew up with it 100%. I had actually never heard of Jem and the Holograms until more recently. Yeah. But my old roommate he was obsessed with that show. So I know that he was so disappointed when it came out. So I feel like with Power Rangers, it has more potential only because it is more relevant. But I think it'll be equally as disappointing if it bombs.
What was who tweeted that? What was that guy's name? Alex. Because he gave us an awesome phrase of hilarious failure.
Alexander Burton.
That was awesome. Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Josh tweets, "Hey, happy Friday. Is there any updates on the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea remake? It's such an amazing story."
I haven't heard
No,
anything.
that's been circling. That's been around.
We talked about that like 9 months
Who
ago.
is it? Who's
Dude,
attached
years
to
ago
it?
too. I mean, there's been so many people attached to it over the years.
It was a big director.
It was Fincher, maybe. I don't know. I don't know who it was, but I mean, I know there's been so many names. Again, like when I years ago when I worked in development at Warner Brothers, like there was talking about 20 Leagues Under the Sea, how to crack it, getting all the top writers to do it. This will happen eventually. Now, if it happens in a year or 2 years or in 10 years, it's going to happen eventually.
I mean, the last time we even saw a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea movie, the animation and the effects look like a Wes Anderson, Steve Zissou effect. Right. So, I mean, it's a long time coming. It's an amazing story. The fact that we got a Moby Dick story before we got a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea story, that's a little mind-boggling to me.
This says September 17th, Variety said that Bryan Singer picked up 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Plans to direct it after David Fincher pulled out.
Who was it?
So David Fincher original. It says that he pulled out, but
Stop.
Shut up. Bryan Singer picked it up as of Variety reported this in September. I could punch you.
Who, me?
Yes.
What did I do?
I'm so sure.
She's just looking at your mustache. That's,
Yeah.
that's
Someone
cause
tweeted,
enough.
you wouldn't get this, but somebody actually tweeted, Christopher tweeted, "Why is the Christmas bush sitting under Josh's nose?"
Yes, nicely done.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where's the poster for that?
In a theater that we can't get into.
Another thing
Studs on
to
Santa
think
Monica.
of, though, with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is there was another piece of news that came out, I think, yesterday. Paul Thomas Anderson, I think, is dropping out of that Pinocchio live action adaptation.
Well, he was just writing it at first, too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was writing, and I think he was going to direct, and now he's dropped out, and I don't know if they're going to use his script. However, some people are saying this is a reaction to what happened with Pan. Because Pan, you had someone, a pretty big star in Hugh Jackman. Yeah. Pan is a well-known, well-loved literary, icon. And now 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, it's kind of these things where now studios are getting scared, like, oh, wow, maybe people don't want to see these things.
I hate that rationale, though. I really hate it because it's like...
But that's what studios do,
I know that they do. I know they've been doing it forever, and it's just a matter of... It's like they look at the numbers and they crunch the numbers. They go, well, that didn't perform the way it was, so nobody wants to see space movies. And then a space movie comes out. Everybody wants to see space movies. It's like, no, put together the right writers and the right scripts and the right directors and the right talent. That's how people go to see movies. Put together, whether it's an original story or even if it's a remade story, it's fine. Like, look, with going back to Pinocchio, this is something that Robert Downey Jr. really wants to do. This is his creative team that really wants to do something as well, too. So whoever he's going after, that now they could certainly say, it could be a factor in going, look, with Robert Downey Jr., your movies have not really pulled besides Iron Man. I understand it, but it's also, if you find a script next and you read it and you go, this script is really good, it should be like, okay, let's take the risk here, as opposed to going, well, that Pan didn't do that well, because they were singing Teen Spirit in the movie. That's why it was terrible. Whoever decided on that should go away on vacation and never come back.
But studios are risk averse in general.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there are certain, movies or projects that they do take risks on, but most of the time that's why they are reactionary.
Right.
They're always like, oh, this movie's big, let's do that.
Right.
You know,
Morons.
With,
But there's also too it's curse of title. So if they name it 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and it looks a little too much like Gods and Kings and Gerard
Right.
Butler, then it's not gonna do that well.
Well, I mean, you can still have that poster doesn't mean the movie's going to do bad, though. I mean, it depends on the trailer.
Sure.
It certainly has that. It's certainly a whole bunch of the marketing that comes with it because you go back to Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Terrible posters, terrible trailers. Okay, overall box office, phenomenal movie. So it's just it's a mixture of things.
okay. All right. What's next?
Andrew tweets, "Hey guys, love the show. My question is, what are you looking forward to in Affleck's performance in Batman v Superman? Any key points that he needs to hit?"
Well, I mean, he's going for a more older, gristled, veteran Batman. So I'm hoping, he gets that toned down. More of a lot of like anger inside, that type of emotion.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely what I want to see from him. And I think Ben Affleck has not only proven himself as one of the best directors in the business right now, but he's stepped up his game with acting. And I'll be the first to say, when he was announced as Batman, I was like, nope, no thanks. I've seen Daredevil.
You and the whole internet.
No, I've seen his past stuff. What was the other one? Reindeer Games. I'm good. But that was unfair because he has evolved and he's also going through some stuff with his own life that he takes that with him. And Batman needs to have that anger and that kind of there's emotion that he brings out, and he's been doing it more. So I would love to see that as Batman, but I also love to see like an understanding because we know that they're going to team up eventually. They have to for Justice League. So I want to see that evolution, how they become buddies.
I always like, the Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon or the Tom Berenger in Major League. It's like one more go around for the championship.
Right.
There's something sexy and like gritty at the same time about that thought. And I like that that's the direction of this Batman. And I think that the audience are really going to respond to Ben Affleck. I really think we undersold him when he got announced. But now
I agree.
Yeah.
I always thought Ben Affleck was a good actor, especially when he came out in Good Will Hunting. It wasn't the lead role, but a supporting role. I think he got caught up with the fame, and then okay, I'm gonna do this for my career.
Right.
Like what was like Pearl Harbor or
Geely.
whatever.
Yeah,
Armageddon.
he made a joke
Reindeer-
about he would take those big studio movies as where Matt Damon did the opposite, to where he would do some studio movies, but he would go and do something like The Rainmaker or Swing Around to Rounders, and he'd start
Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah, like all that stuff to where he'd build up that you took him serious as an actor, as where Ben Affleck took the movie star route. Like he just took the cash and he admits it, and then we've seen a totally different side of him to now it's a blend of the big studio movie with what he's accomplished as a director.
Which I love which is weird because they kind of didn't really take their own advice until later. In Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, there's a scene, where there's Good Will Hunting 2, the hunting season. they have Ben Affleck and Matt Damon talking. He's like, oh yeah, one for them, one for you.
Right.
Then they kind of took that on later because Matt Damon did kind of do more of the indie route, and he couldn't get any work in the big studio stuff. And then Ben Affleck took only the studio stuff, and then he couldn't get taken seriously as an actor. So now they're both kind of where they're doing both.
Yeah, and Matt Damon's done something too, to where even his big budget studio movies have like depth to them. And look at the Bourne series, and then we're coming back. We're getting another Bourne movie with him too. So like they both have done it really, really well, and how they've structured their careers.
And just killed it with The Martian. His performance and the movie is it's phenomenal.
Yep.
All right, let's do two more.
Calvin tweets, "Would you rather see The Force Awakens in 2D or 3D?"
I'm a 2D guy. I like 2D. 3D doesn't really do it for me. It doesn't make the movie-going experience that much better. It doesn't enhance it for me. Give me the big screen in 2D.
Normally I'm under that philosophy, but I think that there's something about, obviously seeing it in IMAX, and now everything's built out in IMAX 3D. Something about seeing the Millennium Falcon in 3D that sounds pretty cool. In space as well too, and it depends on the conversion. It depends on how it seems like they're going to put all the stops and spend all the money to make it the best conversion. And I don't think any of it was shot in 3D. I think it was all shot. There was some shot in IMAX for sure.
Yeah.
I don't need to see it in 3D, but I'm going to see it about 4 billion times in the theater. So one of those times will be in 3D, and if I enjoy it, I'll see it again in 3D.
Yeah, I'm not a person that hates 3D, but I think it gets overused, and not a lot of movies take advantage of it. And so there's only certain ones that it works for. I don't think this one is one. I think this one is purely because they want to make more money off of it. I don't think JJ's sitting there, okay, I'm going to design, like when James Cameron did Avatar, he designed everything to be 3D. I don't think JJ Abrams really thought about that. Right. So that's why I'm seeing it in 2D the first night. But you're right, Christian. We're going to see it multiple times. So I'll see it in 3D. I'll see it in 2D. The Sinead, what would you prefer, 2D or 3D? I think I know the answer to this one.
I hate 3D. Hate it. Makes me sick. Makes me want to throw up everywhere. Yeah. So 2D.
All right, let's do
so
one more question.
There's a chance.
Ryan tweets. That was perfect.
Thanks.
Ryan tweets, what do you guys think of The Martian competing in the comedy category at the Golden Globes?
Stupid.
Yeah,
Wait,
we just heard about that.
I thought that was like a joke tweet.
I know. I asked
real.
Wendy before the show. Isn't that a joke?
No, it's real.
But it's real.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the reason why is because, and we were talking about this beforehand, is that they don't know where to put everything. They want to make sure everything's nominated. They want everybody to come to their award show. They don't care, and it's just a party. The Golden Globes. It's a fun show, but they're gonna. You can say, and if you wanted to argue that that movie has comedic elements. Okay, fine. It does. It's more of a drama, but it absolutely has some comedic elements. And then they're saying that Jennifer Lawrence, David Russell is also, and that does that. Oh man, that looks like a gut buster. So I mean, I don't know.
Nothing says comedy like David O. Russell and Jennifer Lawrence. I think isn't the category like live action musical comedy or something like that? Yes. So it's like everything that isn't a drama of sorts is nominated in this category. Right. So. Sure, and I hope it wins. I hope it's not The Tourist 2 starring Johnny Depp.
Silver Linings Playbook also fall under the comedy category for the Golden Globes that year.
Yeah, it should also show you that there's no good comedies out there right now.
Yeah.
Trainwreck was a good comedy.
Yeah, and it'll get nominated.
The best one I saw.
And it'll get nominated. I mean, there's probably and it goes to reaching. It's like, name 5 good comedies this year. Please comment right now. What are 5 good comedies this year?
When was MacGruber
not animated?
What? When was MacGruber made?
Exactly. So it's tough, and so they're just we got to put something in there.
Oh, you saw The Night Before though. Oh, both of you saw The Night Before.
Yeah.
Night Before should absolutely be nominated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does that mean that The Martian just wins? Do we all just know what's going to win?
No, the thing that's ridiculous about that
necessarily.
category though is, okay, you put up a comedy, one that's not even a comedy. You take something like that and then you put it up against, let's say, a musical. Hypothetically, let's say Into the Woods came out and was nominated. How do you judge The Martian versus Into the Woods if they were in the same category?
Right.
Yeah, it's just weird and strange. And I think they just want more categories.
I agreed.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.